Bro, you're never going to guess what I've picked up today. An M2. Yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. What do you mean, can I come by and pick you up in it? No, it's not a car. It's a pre-workout. Hello everyone and welcome back to another review with us, the Review Bros, and today we're going to be covering quite a highly anticipated, hyped up pre-workout. We're a little bit late on it, we've had it for a little while, but we are going to get into it today. And it's called M2 by Mind Muscle Nutrition. So stay tuned as we cover all of those usuals: taste, price, label effects, will it be the next one you pick up? And if you're new here, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, tick the bell icon, give the video a like, drop your thoughts down below what you think of this pre-workout, anything else you want to see us review, and all the usuals. Let's move on. Taste and Mixability comes in blue slush, and the one we've got orange Smartie. So will it taste chocolatey? Because as you know, Smarties are chocolatey sweets, but who knows, we'll find out. Anyway, so there's one thing I need to make very clear before I move any further, and that's that a flat scoop does actually come to 26 grams, when you should actually only be taking 20 grams as per the label. So, you know, if you're just an average Joe, don't really know about pre-workout, and you just look at that, oh, take one scoop, wallop. And you know, that's a flat scoop. If you do a heaping scoop, we're talking coming on 30 grams. So that could seriously blow your head off, okay? So that's why we always say weigh your scoops. And to get that 20 grams is in between 3/4 and a flat scoop, somewhere in there. Play around with it and find out for yourself, but not in that way. But just be careful not to go over a flat scoop or over a 3/4 scoop. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's get into it. Look, there's a bit at the bottom. This is really off the cuff. Yeah, there's some bits at the bottom, but you see that in most pre-workouts, like I always say. So, you know what? We're not going to cry about it. Let's see how it tastes. It's nice. It has got a bit of an orange Smartie-esque flavour to it, actually. Blended up, molten down Smarties. It's quite pleasant. There's not really any nastiness to it. Just a nice, sweet, Smartie, orangey flavour. Yeah, I can deal with that. It's quite unique. I can't say I've had too many pre's that taste like it, but I'd say the flavour's fairly accurate. Like I said, there's no horribleness to it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. As orange flavours go, it's not bad, so you won't struggle. So if you want to pick up this big ass tub, you can get it from mindmusclenutrition.com. Using our 15% discount code RB15 will knock it down to £31.19 or only £1.04 a go. And I say only because on our consistent price scale, it falls in at a 7 out of 10, with 5 out of 10 being bang average. So it's priced better than average. It's a cheaper than average product with that discount code. So is the label going to also be better than average? So you're getting good bang for buck, or will it be worse and you're not getting good bang for buck? But stay tuned and we'll get into it. Okay then, let's move into this label then. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at euphoric tunnel vision, increased blood flow, and unparalleled energy. All sounds like things we look for in a pre-workout, right? Well, let's see if the label's going to bring it. Oh, and by the way, I should have mentioned this again in the price segment, but I'll probably put it on the screen again. 30 serving tub, which is a huge thumbs up, and that explains why it's so damn big. That's what she said. So we do like that. 30 servings, you're going to get a full month's worth if you're crazy enough to take it every single day of the week and train every single day of the month, which not many people do. So realistically, it'll probably last you a month and a half to 2 months if you used to use it like a normal human. Right, so let's get into it. So 20 gram serving size, definitely I'd say above average. Again, that's what she said. And then we got citrulline malate, 6 grams. We don't know whether it's 2 to 1 or 1 to 1. But either way, you'll be getting 3 or 4 grams of citrulline, which is okay, it's respectable, it's the lowest end of doing the job, as we like to say, but it's that amino acid that's going to expand your veins by increasing nitric oxide levels and increasing the blood flow. So we're ticking that little blood flow claim box on the front there with that one. Then we've got beta-alanine at 4 grams, which is above the clinical dose of 3.2, so we like to see that. Big fans of that ingredient. Again, that's an amino acid, and that's going to give that itchy, tingly sensation when the pre-workout's kicking in, gets you revved up, makes you want to get moving, and it also helps with endurance when it builds up in your system. Then we've got L-taurine at 2 grams, probably double the normal dose. That's a bit of a jack of all trades. It's mainly used for hydration, but it does have some cognitive benefits and energy production benefits within the body. Then we move down to glycerol monostrate at 2 grams, which is not a bad dose as the ingredient goes. It will get the job done certainly, and that's going to draw water into your muscle cells, causing a bit of hyperhydration. So it's going to give you that fluffy look, that pumped look. So actually, what I will say on that it's not clumped at all. We've had this for a few months open now, so big thumbs up. Does anyone else find that sometimes the standard form of glycerol clumps less than these patented trademark fancy ones? But anyway, we like to see it. Then let's move down to L-tyrosine, 1500 milligrams, which is probably about 500 more than average. Average is about 1 gram, so yeah, that's another amino acid. It's going to help with focus and concentration. Same can be said for the next ingredient, choline bitartrate. However, that is only at 500 milligrams. When it's in that form, which is arguably the worst, well, not arguably, it is the worst form of choline, we like to see it at least 1 gram. It struggles to cross the blood-brain barrier when it's in its bitartrate form versus alpha-GPC or citicholine, which we prefer. Will it do much of that dose? Arguably not. And then let's move down to Urea gerensis extract at 250 milligrams. Now, this is where it starts to get a bit more exciting. That is not a dose to be sniffed at. You know, it's rare that you really see it 250, 300 milligrams plus. So that is on the higher end of dosing, but that's a natural form of a DMHA replacement sort of ingredient that's going to help with focus, drive, mood elevation, and just make you feel good whilst you're training, really. Then let's move down to caffeine anhydrous, 150 milligrams, which is weirdly probably half as much as what you'd normally see, especially in one of these higher stim type pre-workouts, which this one's looking to be. So yeah, about 1.5 cups of coffee. It's going to wake you up and get you moving. We'll take it. Be interesting to see how it comes together. Then we've got 2-amino, which is obviously DMHA, 100 milligrams. Not a bad dose. You know, you see it for anything from 100 to 300. So 100 is probably more on the lower-ish end. But if it is legit, you'll most certainly definitely feel it. And that is that grey area or band ingredient that's going to really channel you in with that super drive, focus, energy-like feeling. And it's going to pair nicely with that Urea gerensis that I mentioned previously there. Then we've got T-creen at 100 milligrams, which is just like it's like a caffeine-esque ingredient in that it's going to improve your focus and energy levels, but it's not actually technically a stimulant, so it won't affect your heart rate, but it'll work in synergy with the caffeine to achieve similar goals. Then we've got caffeine citrate, 50 milligrams, so you'll yield half of that as actual caffeine, 25 milligrams caffeine, which is like a gulp of coffee, like, that was nice. So it's going to kick faster than the anhydrous. It's going to kick within 10-15 minutes rather than 20-30 minutes. So you'll get a little bit of alertness from that 25 milligrams of caffeine, and then the rest will come in. So that's all there is to say on that, really. You know, it would have been better if it was at a higher dose, but hey ho. Then we got synephrine, which I think is spelt wrong. Synephrine HCl, 50 milligrams. That's a fat burner ingredient, so it's going to metabolize fat cells for energy, heat you up a little bit, get you moving, give you some energy. Then we've got bioperine, 5 milligrams, which is the dose we normally see. That's going to help with the uptake and absorption of all of these ingredients. Then we've got alpha yihimbi, which, if I'm not mistaken, isn't a thing. You know, you either get alpha yihimbine or you get yihimbi, which is the bark extract. So we'll soon know. You know, I've used this before a few times, but it was a couple of months ago with Aaron. So I'm using it again today to refresh my memory. But what I'm saying is, we'll soon find out in the effects section if this on the label is meant to be alpha yihimbine or just yihimbi. Because if it's alpha yihimbine at 2.5 milligrams, you'll get the cold sweats, dribbles, you know, all of that nastiness. If you don't really get any of that, then I would argue that it is the yihimbi bark. So stay tuned for that. But either way, that's another fat burning style ingredient. It's going to get you revved up, energetic, moving, and does help with blood flow to the PP, apparently. Then we've got huperzine A at 50 micrograms, which is on the lower end for that ingredient, but that's going to help with memory, learning, focus, cognition type benefits. So that is quite an interesting label. It's a bit up and down and all over the place. Some really good things, some not so great things, but you know what they say, labels are apparently just labels. So let's see how it comes together in real world training. Okay, let's talk real world effects of M2 pre-workout. And is it as powerful as the car? Is it packing that horsepower? And can you get the back end out on it? Well, I'll be able to answer all of those except maybe the last one, but let's get into it. So myself and Aaron have used this a few times each now over the last few months, most recently obviously today for legs. Let's start off like we always do with that beta alanine. How much do you feel it at that 4 gram amount? I would say you feel it to a medium degree. I would say 5 out of 10 on the tingle scale. It's just enough to know it's in there and get things moving, get that sense of urgency, but it doesn't actually kick in as strong as you might think. And I think possibly it's down to the fact there is a lot in this pre-workout to digest, you know, 20 grams in fact. So it does take a bit of a backseat, but you do still feel it. So medium thumbs up. And then after that, after about 30 to 40 minutes, you start to get a real sense of urgency to want to get moving. And I would actually say it feels like there's more caffeine in here than 150. Well, you know, if you want to include the 25 from the caffeine citrate, then 175 to be very specific. But it feels probably double that. And I can only attribute that to the synephrine, the Yahimbi, which by the way, let's just get that out of the way. I don't think it's Alpha Yo at 2.5 grams. You know, I would definitely know about it if it was Alpha Yo at 2.5. I'd be cold sweat, jitters, dribbling, all of that nastiness. I didn't get any of that. I just got a nice little peppering of knowing that there's some sort of Yahimbine in here. So I do believe it to be the Yahimbi bark rather than the Alpha Yahimbine, which, you know, if you don't like Alpha Yo, that'll be a good thing for you guys to be hearing. So it gives that nice little spark of sense of urgency and energy, that little, you know, that lighting a fire up your arse basically. So it does feel like a very high urgency pre-workout. And it says on the front, euphoric tunnel vision, but I wouldn't say you feel happy on this. I also wouldn't say you feel angry. I'd say you just feel very serious, very confident, and very productive. I'd say those are the key words with this pre-workout, a productive one. It will get you training hard, you'll be smashing through sets, you'll almost not feel pain when you're training. You really will want to push your body to the ends of its limits. So I've had good sessions every time on this, so has Aaron, and actually surprisingly, I'm just flying through this. Pumps are really, really good as well. I mean, even legs got absolutely swole today, and you kind of expected to some degree, you know, it has got glycerol and some citrulline in there, some other bits and pieces. Obviously, the work ethic you're putting in is going to play into that as well. But the pumps were surprisingly good. The energy was very, very good. There's no crash. Like I said, it feels like double that caffeine amount, but I think that's because it's got a peppering of lots of different stimulants in here that all come together in really nice synergy, actually. And like I said, the focus is not really a sense of highness as such. You don't really feel floaty or high. And I do think that's partly down to the fact they've put the 2-amino in here at a nice sweet spot dose, you know, 100. So you know it's in there, like it definitely is in here. You do get that DMHA-esque sort of feeling, but you don't get it to the degree where you're like off your bonks. So it's not one of those muck around pre-workouts that you take for a laugh with your mates and you're like, woo! It's one that you're going to take to smash PBs, to have a sick training session, to get a sick pump. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too many bad things to say about this pre-workout. I mean, the label is a bit, you know, like I said in the label section, it's a bit underdosed here and there. There's some little bits and pieces that are a bit, but for the most part, I think it really does come together and translate well in reality. It's hitting everything that we look for to a really nice level. And to a sweet spot level, like I touched on earlier, there's no real negatives to it. You know, it doesn't keep you wired for hours and hours and hours. I mean, don't get me wrong, you do feel that sense of that there's DMHA in there for a couple of hours after training, but say if you took it at lunchtime or in the morning, I wouldn't say you'd be feeling it come bedtime. It's not that strong, but it is strong that you will be feeling it up to a couple of hours after you finish training. Now, it's not mega strong enough to suppress your appetite to a crushing degree. You're not excessively thirsty on it. There's no cold sweats, jitters, all of that stuff. There's no sense of feeling sick, you know, nothing like that. So I think that sweet spot is a key word, productive is a key word, and tunnel vision, confident, focus are key words as well. So I think that really does sum it up, to be honest, guys. You know, it is a Stim Junkie pre-workout, but I would say beginner to intermediate possibly, and productive as well. It's not a muck around Stim Junkie one. And it balances that fine line between high energy and tunnel vision focus. You know, like you get these pre-workouts, these higher stim ones that either fall into two baskets. It's normally either the highness, like floaty off your head feeling high stim, or it's the edge of insanity, you know, like I can't sit still high stim. There's generally, it falls into one of those two baskets. I would say this one sits in between both of them. It kind of actually reminds me of similar effects to the Ares Titanium by MST Nutrition. It's kind of that feeling, you know, like I mentioned, you get that energy, high sense of urgency, but with a little bit of background DMHA tunnel vision focus to good measure. So it really is just like nailing it in that perfect sweet spot for productive training. So I think that does sum it up, guys. You know, it's hitting everything really nice, no real negatives to it. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. You know, I think it's a really good pre-workout. It performs better than the label. And I do think that a lot of people are gonna like this, and people that have used it, from what I gather, do like it. So yeah, can recommend it. Definitely check it out. I do think it's definitely worth that money. You know, a 7 out of 10 on our price scale, just over £1 to go. I'd be more than happy to pay that for this. 30 servings is always a thumbs up from where we're sitting. So yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments section. Have you used it? Do you want to use it? What do you think of that label? What do you think of the effects? All of the usuals. And as always, stay stimmed.